Thank you, girls. And you obviously have a much better definition than I do of mental well-being when I was your age. I don't think I'm sure we had issues around this, but it was not something that we spoke about enough growing up. So, I'm really happy to learn that you guys are quite in tune with your mental well-being here. So, being Year 11 students, am I correct in believing you're all Year 11 students?
Yes.
So, being Year 11 students, do you feel that your mental well-being has now become even more important?
Yeah, I believe caring for your mental health is pivotal in your overall performance in your GCSEs. Mental health is something that really does affect physical health and just other aspects of your life as a whole. So I'm a firm believer that in order to perform the best in your GCSEs, you do need to be in tune with your mental health.
Yes, absolutely. And so it's important to address our mental well-being because if we don't, what could happen?
Burnout.
Yes, absolutely, burnouts. And just for those listeners that don't know what burnouts is, what's a burnout, girls?
So it's like when you're like overworking yourself and you're like not dealing with the stress in a healthy way, and you just like take it upon yourself to like work constantly, which and then like by the time the important exams come around or whatever it is that you're facing, then you just don't have the energy and brain capacity for it anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's so easily done, especially in times like now when you have that. And I probably didn't help by giving you a countdown of 87 days. So apologies there. But it's literally when you have a panic, and you are overwhelmed with what's around you, and it's becoming quite difficult to cope with. Now, girls, I know that this week at Chorley Girls High School, you have been doing some activities around mental well-being. Can you share some of these activities that you have been doing? What's been your favourite thing? What have you particularly done? And is it the first time that Chorley Girls has done this, or is it something that's been going on for quite a few years now? I've asked quite a few questions there, so I'll let you guys think about that before you come back to answering me. And I pitch this question to either of you or all of you, so you can take your turns to answer.
So yesterday we had a PDC lesson, which is every Thursday, and it's been going on since like we were in year 7 until now. And yesterday it was about mental well-being and like recognizing when you or someone else, like needs help, or like the less common symptoms of anxiety, which like it also encourages us like to take a break from work.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So understanding the less common symptoms of anxiety, because you know the obvious ones. When people have panic attack, when they just break down or cry, you can often physically see when someone's having an anxiety or panic attack. What would be the less subtle ones?
Social withdrawal, maybe.
Okay, and
Losing weight.
yes, losing weight, so not eating very well. So, girls, I know it's quite a tough question to ask, and it's a very difficult topic to talk about. But have any of you ever had any issues with your mental well-being where you felt that you were either socially withdrawn, or you just felt that you were a bit overwhelmed with something and you didn't know how to cope with it? And this could be inside school, outside of school, when you started school, how you felt. So any of those emotions, and it would be really nice to hear how you came over that.
I think for me, recently we've been doing our college applications, and I applied for a scholarship with Berkhamsted, but unfortunately, I was told that I didn't get accepted into the college. I think that day when I found out, I was so upset. I had such a bad mental breakdown, and I could not cope with being at school. I really just wanted to go home, get into my bed, and just distance from everyone. But when I had a talk with one of my teachers, and he said to me that from this, I need to move on. And I need to realize that I shouldn't just let that set me down. And I need to move on from that and realize that there's so much more opportunities for me. And I shouldn't just let one thing just completely put me down and put me onto a path where I completely lose all my opportunities for my future. And I think one of the things that helped me with that was prayer. As soon as I got home, I did sleep for a bit, but I woke up, I prayed. As soon as I prayed, I felt so much more at peace. And I realized that there's always something else. There might be a reason as to why I didn't get that scholarship. I didn't receive that. There might be better opportunities for me, and I shouldn't let it put me down.
Rashad, that is amazing, and I'm really touched to hear that how connected you felt with your prayer, with your faith, because often people can distance themselves, especially when something negative happens in their life. They always feel that, oh, but I've worked so hard in my faith and I've done all this stuff towards my faith, and and still nothing's coming my way, and that's quite a common behavior from teenagers, because we find it hard to address our emotions and pinpoint what we need to do next. So that was very mature of you to take that step back and say, okay, I need to reconnect and understand that what didn't come my way now is actually in my best interest. And inshallah, you'll have much more better things come your way. And
Thank you.
it's giving you a bit of confidence as well, because you know that for you to be even applying to somewhere like Berkhamsted, you are obviously a girl of quite high intellect. You have the ability to say, I'm a possible candidate for somewhere like Berkhamsted. So you obviously are a very bright girl. So your future's bright, inshallah. So
Thank you so much.
you'll go. So girls, any other one of you had any similar situations?
Alhamdulillah, throughout my life, I don't really think that I've been it's stressed to the extent where I felt like I needed to distance myself from everyone else. But I do have a friend who used to struggle a lot with not so much stress, but anxiety and attacks, and being surrounded with a lot of people. And she found it quite difficult to believe that good things were coming her way, and she just felt like she wasn't good enough, essentially. And I just encouraged her to talk about it more, because there's I feel like sometimes there's a bit of a stigma around mental health, especially with females of our age. And I just encouraged her to talk about it and to open up more. And I also encouraged her to learn about her religion more, and to be more open and frequent in her prayer. And afterwards, she did tell me that helped her a lot.
And again, girls, it's so refreshing to hear, because these are the things that I discovered later on in my life. It's not something that I, as a 16-year-old, was able to address and be in tune with. And I can see that you obviously are in an education setting where this is obviously really promoted and encouraged in your school, especially talking about it, because I think a lot of us really shy away from talking about our feelings, because we don't like to be judged. We don't like to share something and think, I've just told someone this and now they're going to think this of me. And we don't like to have any negative things always associated to us. So, that's amazing. And it's really great that you're able to support your friend. And how important is that? I mean, you guys can back me up here. How important is it to have that great support network?
I believe that in a school setting, it's very pivotal to have that support network, especially because you're in such a diverse place and no one has mind reading skills. So you obviously don't know when someone's going through something. So having those people who are constantly around to support you, to ask how you're feeling, to check up on you, to just make sure that whatever stress you're going through is somehow alleviated is very, very important. And I also believe it's very, very uplifting and encouraging to others as well, who may be in not only positions where they need that support, but positions where they're considering giving it to others. it's very encouraging to see the positive effect that constant checking up might have on others. And I believe that other people are encouraged to do it as well. And it's just very fulfilling, very inspiring to know that somehow you've impacted someone, you've helped them get over certain thoughts, certain feelings, and certain mindsets. And I just feel it's just a generally very good thing.
It's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah.
And did anyone want to add to that? Did you have something to say at the end there? No. So yes, absolutely. I think and also putting yourself in that person's shoes. I think when you look back and you think, well, this person's feeling this. If I were in that place or in that position, how could I overcome this? And it's very thoughtful of you to know that I'm here as a support pillar and I'm going to support this person go through it. Now I can see that you girls are not in uniform, so I'm assuming something's happening special at school this week or today. So we will come back to that. Listeners, if you have just tuned in, where have you been? I have the lovely Chorley girls, high school girls with me this morning, and we are talking about mental well-being, but focusing it around teenage girls. And they have about what it means to them and how they address their own mental well-being. If you have any questions for my guest this morning, please do message in either through text or WhatsApp on the studio number 07779 481 822. Now, girls, I think people are really keen to hear, especially as a mum of 3 teen girls. I am very keen to hear, what you do, because you mashallah sound like, you girls have are quite calm and you've got, a lot of resilience. And for year 11 students, you're doing very good because, it's a stressful year, it's a stressful time, and taking on all those subjects and trying to sit these exams and do well, it's a lot of pressure. So I'm keen to hear, what's your outlet? What do you do to keep yourself above board and not let yourself have those breakdowns?
I think for me, one of the main things is going on walks, just literally just after Fajr in the morning. It's such like just to get in touch with nature and just like have peace and walking around. It's just like a break from all of the stress and everything. And another thing is probably for me baking. I just love baking, and I find a lot of comfort in desserts and food as well. So just whenever I just love to bake, I'll make Matilda cakes, brownies, Kinder Fudge, literally anything, just because it's just a break from all of my focus on my exams and my schoolwork. Instead, when I focus on baking and just getting myself that reward of eating something so like tasty, it's just amazing.
Well, I'll be round for a Matilda cake. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Try one of those. So I'd be keen to try one of your Matilda cakes. But yeah, I admire you for getting up after Fajr and going for walks because it's cold. So what
It
motivates
is.
you to get up in that cold?
I always have my AirPods in listening to my Nasheed playlist.
Yeah.
And so then I just have literally loads of layers of clothes and my coat on top with my fluffy socks on. And then, yeah, I'll be warm enough.
Oh wow. Yeah, as soon as you're up and you're in that gear, you're in that mindset to just go ahead. And how I do apologise. My memory is going with my age, so I have forgotten names of all of you. But the girl sitting next to you, how do you address your mental well-being?
I believe that one of the cheapest, most underrated solutions for certain mental health problems is sleep. Go to sleep. Have a working, healthy sleep schedule. When you wake up, your mind is just, renewed. You feel fresh. I used to be someone who suffered a lot of anxiety, and I found that sleep really did help. I don't know if it's just me because I love sleeping, but waking up with that sort of new mindset, fresh mentality, and then probably, like Kamia said, eating, going for a walk, going to the gym, absolutely sublime.
Oh, absolutely, sleep. I think I have a few teen boys that love their sleep at home. Yeah, I think sleep is key for a lot of people. And yeah, make the most of it, girls, because as soon as you hit adult, sleep is it's non-existent. So yeah. Listeners, we are now heading over to a short commercial break. You have been listening to Mother's Planet, and I have been joined by some very inspirational young girls who are talking about mental well-being. Again, if you have any questions for myself or my guests, please do send them in either on a text or WhatsApp on the studio number 07779 But for now, you have the opportunity, because I have mine in my hand, to go refill your hot brew or whatever it is that you're having with me this morning, and joining us after a short commercial break. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
With you 24 hours a day. Inspire.
Enjoy quality and tasty 100% authentic halal Chinese and Thai food from Gao Express. Brought to you by the team behind Tops Pizza in Luton. Choose from all your delicious Chinese and Thai favourites. Then order for delivery or collection from Gao Express in Wellington Street, Luton, Marketplace, Stevenage, and now also on Nightingale Road in Hitchin. Open daily midday till late. Find the number or order online at Gao, that's GAO, express.co.uk, or like Gao Express on Facebook.
Had an accident, a bump, trip or fall? Then you need Claims Specialists, your first choice for accident claims. The Specialist Claims Company on Dunstable Road in Luton. With excellent access to expert solicitors and on a no-win, no-fee basis, Claims Specialists use their 30 years experience to help get you the best compensation possible. For injuries at work, taxi, PCO and private hire incidents, road accidents and vehicle damage, medical negligence, plus rented housing disrepair. In short, when you need to make any claim, click on claimspecialists.co.uk or call 01582 733 222.
For the tastiest sizzling steaks around, book now for Taurus Luton Boot Street, LU1 2EP. And not just for the best grass-fed and dry-hung aged halal steaks, as Taurus Luton also serve amazing chicken dishes, burgers, sumptuous sides, salads and vegetarian options, with mouth-watering mocktails too. All this and with excellent service. View the menu, book your table, or even party or celebration event at taurusluton.co.uk or call 01582 750 213.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम किरण है। कोट कश्मीर ऑर्फन रिलीफ ट्रस्ट मेरा एक खूबसूरत घर है, जहां मेरे साथ सैकड़ों यतीम और बेसहारा बच्चों की तालीम और तरबियत और पुरसुकून माहौल में परवरिश हो रही है, और ये सब कुछ आपके तावन से मुमकिन है। अल्लाह से दुआ है कि अल्लाह करीम आपको सदा सलामत रखे, और उम्मीद है कि आप इसी तरह अपना प्यार, मोहब्बत और तावन जारी रखेंगे। कोट UK ऑफिस 0300123774 court.org.uk।
रिश्ता नेटवर्किंग आज के इस मसरूफ और गहमा गहमी के दौर में रिश्ता ढूंढना किसी मुहिम से कम नहीं, ये एक मुश्किल काम है, लेकिन घबराइए नहीं। इंस्पायर एफएम रिश्ता नेटवर्किंग के साथ मिलकर कम्युनिटी के इस मसले में आपकी मदद के लिए अपनी खिदमत पेश कर रहा है।
14 फरवरी बरोज जुमा शाम 6 बजे से रात 10 बजे तक
क्रेसेंट हॉल बरी पार्क में सिर्फ खवातीन की नशिस्तों का एहतमाम किया गया है, जिसमें आप अपने अजीज व अकारब के लिए रिश्ता ढूंढ सकेंगे। हमारे पास महदूद नशिस्तें बाकी हैं। आज ही रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाइए और इस कार्य खैर में हिस्सा लीजिए। मजीद मालूमात के लिए विजिट कीजिए rishta-networking.co.uk। अपने जीवन साथी की तलाश रिश्ता नेटवर्किंग और इंस्पायर एफएम के साथ।
मुलाहिजा होशियार
माजी हाल मुस्तकबिल की बातों के सुराग, इल्मी अदबी अफसाना शायरी और जिंदगी के राज, हवा की लहरों से बन के आवाज सुनिए
हर जुमरा शाम 7 बजे
प्रोग्राम चराग।
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Mother's Planet. I'm your host Neelam, and joining me on the show this morning are my guests from Tawny Girls. Morning, girls.
Good morning.
So in the show so far, we have been talking about the importance of mental well-being and what this means from a young teen's perspective. Now, the girls have shared, which I would like to thank you for, because it's not an easy topic to talk about, but some of them have shared how they have addressed their own mental well-being and what they did to overcome that situation, and also what they do to help and nurture their mental well-being. Now, we've had baking and going for a walk. We've also had sleep, which is so important. And yes, as an adult, I've forgotten what that is, so enjoy it. And so the remaining two girls, what do you do to help with your mental well-being?
Something that my dad like always reiterates to me and my siblings is having a good routine and like sticking to that routine. Like even on a day where like say we don't go to school, so like there's a half time next week, he says like it's always good to stick to that routine because like if you're stressed, it like calms you down because you're doing something familiar every morning. I like to like sit down and talk with my family, which like may seem like really simple, but like it doesn't have to like just be sitting down and talking. Something we do is that we like to like watch something together, like have like conversation in between, which is like it's like really good bonding, I think.
Absolutely, family time is key, and as a mum of 6 myself, I try my very best to make sure that we have at least one day a week where we are having like family time, and that could be getting a takeaway in and just watching a movie that we can all watch together. So yeah, I think family time is key, and taking that time out. But I do like what your dad has said there about routine, because I think when we have a routine and then we fall out of the routine, the first few weeks it could be okay, and then trying to go back to the routine that we originally had, it can get a bit overwhelming, and you've obviously lost track of how things are running. So to keep that consistency going is really good and sound advice there for your dad, and I really like that. And thank you for sharing that. And last but not least,
I feel like being able to do something you really enjoy, like maybe doing your skincare in the evening, or reading a book, or like coloring, even just coloring, like mindful coloring. I think that really like take your mind off things that you've done throughout the day, and like being able like before you go to bed, like journal what you've done throughout the day, what you're planning on doing the next day. I think it really like puts you in that routine and like takes that stress off your mind. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this?
so do you actually journal yourself?
I'm hoping to. I haven't started, but like once my exams start getting really close, I'm gonna start like journaling how I'm gonna revise the next day, what I'm planning on doing the next day.
And yeah, and just being organized, I think, is really key there as well. And I like the way how you take that time out to take care of yourself, your actual self needs. So yes, having a skincare routine, or taking that time out to read a book that's not anything to do with your subjects, but it's a book that you just wanted to pick up and just go off and escape into something. So it's really good that you are reading like that and taking that. But journaling, yes, journaling is, I highly recommend it. It's something that I only discovered later on in my life, but I've actually journaled in my life, and there's been aspects where I've gone back and I've read what I've written, and I think, wow, at that time I was angry and rage, and there were all sorts of emotions going through me, but I took the choice of putting it all on pen to paper rather than venting it out onto somebody. And when I went back months later to read it, I could counsel myself and say, well, I shouldn't have really said that or thought that or done this. So for me, when I look back at my writing that I have done through my journaling journey, I've realised that actually there's a lot of things that I'm so glad I wrote on paper and didn't actually go and speak and say it to somebody, because you can't take that away, that you can tear up a paper and throw it away and say, right, that was just a moment of rage. and I've let it all out on paper, and nobody needs to know about it, and that's it, it's gone, and it's out of your mind as well. So I do highly recommend journaling. So obviously you're very busy girls at the moment, and so it's very difficult to do. So girls, yeah, I did mention to the listeners earlier that you are obviously not in uniform, so I'm assuming this has got something to do with the mental well-being that you, or maybe not actually, I don't know, the mental well-being workshops that you've been doing throughout the school. So is there a special occasion for this today?
So this whole week we've been doing Good Causes Week. So each of our houses in our school, we all have a dedicated charity that we're raising money for. And the last few days we've been selling stuff and raising money for those charities to help them. And today we are also selling food at lunch to raise some money.
And is this food that you cooked or food that has been donated?
They've been cooked made by students, but they also selling pizza as well, which they've gotten. And we also had to bring £1 in today to also put back and give back to the others that have given to us. Yeah, we're giving back to the community.
So does that mean your Matilda cake will be on sale today somewhere in the school?
Maybe. I guess you just have to come and see.
Very clever. I will have to come and see. I might actually just come down just for that cake slice there. So
I think you should.
So am I? So this week, have you actually been looking at mental well-being, or is it just looking at causes? What have you been studying at this week?
Yeah, so on Thursday during our PDC lesson, there was a whole session dedicated to mental health and how to have these difficult conversations surrounding mental health. We also did group discussions on how to approach someone who you suspect might be suffering from a mental health challenge. And what else did we do?
We also spoke about the two different types of mental well-being and how it's shown. So through either behavioral or emotional. With behavioral, it's more like mood swings and distancing yourself from people and maybe sleeping less, and you can see it on someone. But emotional is more like when someone is feeling worried, feeling anxious, and just overall being upset and sad.
To add on to what they said, one of the charities that we're going to be donating to is called FOBE, so it's Friends of Bright Eyes, and they focus on helping families who have children who are either physically or have some kind of mental illness, and they use that money that they receive to spend on the family, so help them have a holiday or a day out, just to help them have that break that they need from the stress that they have from that.
And I have heard of FOBE, and I know that they do a lot for the special needs community, and it's amazing that you have addressed this in your school as well. So with what you have been doing throughout the week, raising money for your chosen charities, what's been your favourite aspect? What have you particularly enjoyed the most?
The food.
I'm with you on that one. Although I haven't even had any. I'm going to be coming down today though.
You should.
On yesterday and today, we hold our annual marketplace, which is in the hall, where everyone comes together with their stores and we're just selling all together. And members of charity, sometimes they come in to see all the hard work that we're doing. Also, gives us a sense of responsibility because it's just all student based. So the students run the stores and they have that chance to take control and have that leadership responsibility.
Absolutely. And I guess being in an all girls school and when it comes to trying to take leadership, how do you find that? Do you find that generally, I know that I like to take over. I'm very controlling, and I've established myself. How do you girls manage that? How do you handle that?
Okay, so the four of us here have leadership positions in the school. The four of us here are actually part of the student leadership team. So I believe it's a very rewarding role to be part of a student leading body. It enhances your sense of responsibility at a very young age. You get to handle tasks, you get to meet a lot of people, you get to collaborate with others. It sharpens your teamwork skills, your communication skills, actually, because you're working with diverse people. The fact that you also have to go out, you have to engage with other schools in the trust also helps your confidence socially. It enables you to build a network of like-minded people who can inspire you to be the best version of yourself. And you're also an inspiration to others who may be looking to, take over our roles once we leave in June. So yeah, it's a very rewarding position.
And I guess it's, because you are all in a senior position at the school where you have students looking up to you, you have to conduct yourselves in certain ways as well, and you have to be good role models. So there's a lot of pressure on you as well, because you are looked upon in admiration, because people look up to you and see that these are head girls or chosen leadership girls in the school because they conduct themselves in a certain way. So how do you keep up with that, and how do you not fall out with each other to say I'm going to do this, and how do you share your jobs and your roles equally and responsibly?
So we make sure that we communicate. So I think that's really important. Like, we all make sure we, on a daily basis, we're communicating with each other with anything that's going on in the school, anything we want to do. And we also make sure we have that relationship where we can communicate and work with each other and build that teamwork.
Just to add on that, we all have separate roles within the senior prefect team. So for me, I'm a senior prefect, senior duties prefect. So I basically manage all of the students and prefects' rotas for where they do their duty at lunchtimes, and I manage the timetable with one other student. And then you guys?
I'm head girl. Well, basically the ambassador of the school. I give a lot of speeches, which I believe has helped my confidence. And actually, the four of us as well also applied for that head girl position. And I feel like that sort of week where we had the speeches and we had the interviews really helped us to develop a bond. So when you talk about falling out or communication issues, we know better than to let sort of trivial matters come between us, because we've developed that bond. Yeah.
We have a really supportive community. Since year 7, being inspiration woman, that is our school's motto. And I feel like since year 7, we've embodied that, that concept, that idea, we've always embodied that. And I think being supportive in an all-girls school is very imminent. We've always had such a supportive community, even though some of us get the scholarships, get these roles, don't get these roles. No matter what, we always look out for each other, and I think that's such a blessing to have.
We've also done away with the idea of a hierarchy, so no one is above the other. We're all part of a senior prefect team. We all have our role to play in the daily running of the school. We're all important in one way or the other. So there's no hierarchy, and I believe that's really important in making everyone feel welcomed, making everyone feel heard, and just needed, basically, in the school community.
So I guess for you girls being in the position you have, it's going to be even harder to bid farewell to your school and move on to the next chapter of your life. So I'm keen to hear what you are aspiring to do next. What's next for you girls. So once you've finished your GCSEs, what do you hope to do? And
sorry.
Yeah,
I was successful in getting the Berkhamsted scholarship, so I'll be going there from September, and I've picked my A levels, and just the opportunities there are endless. There's so many extracurricular clubs. The classroom sizes are small, so it's more of a one-to-one tutoring rather than a whole student body of teaching classes. There's trips which will most of it will be funded for because of the scholarship. And I just feel like really blessed and lucky to be in this position.
And it's very nice because you've also got your friend here who did apply and didn't get the place, but she is not bitter and holding it against you that, oh, she didn't get the place, and and I think that's very mature, and and I hope that you continue this kind of attitude in your lives, because then you will be real successful women, because it's it's always nicer to feel happy for someone else, even though that particular thing didn't come your way. So what's next for the rest of you? Where do you hope to go?
For me, I'm an aspiring doctor. So I've decided I'm going to start A levels in sixth form in September. Inshallah, I'm planning on studying biology, chemistry, maths, and possibly business, maybe just on the side. But yeah, I want to use all of that and hopefully get into Oxford University. That is my goal, inshallah. But yeah, and just to study medicine there, maybe become a GP pharmacist. That I'm not really sure on yet, but I just know that I want to go into the medical field.
Wow, that's amazing. And how about the other two?
I'm hoping to go into somewhere, I'm not too sure, but I'm planning on going like into finance or business. I feel like it's a really like interesting place to go to, and being able to like work with like how people like manage finance and all of that. I'm going to sixth form, and I'm doing business, psychology, and I don't remember my third one, but it's law, and maybe even do maths on the side, hopefully.
As someone who loves traveling, loves the aesthetic train rides, I'm going to a sixth form in London, and like Hami here, I'm also an aspiring doctor. So I'll also be studying biology, chemistry, psychology, and actually I took AS level maths. So pray for me, guys.
No, I'm sure you sound like a very level-headed girl, and I can sense from your aura and the way you conduct yourself when you're speaking that you are very focused. So I'm very sure that you will be very successful in that, and that's lovely to hear, girls, that you're all four going different ways. I think a couple of you will probably meet at sixth form, but you are taking different journeys on your studies ahead. So I hope that you have the best. Now we've got a few minutes left of the show, and being year 11 students, I think it's really key to hear how you are managing with your revision, and any tips that you can give to those parents that are tuned in, or those students that are listening in that are really finding it hard to motivate themselves despite the 87 days that are left, and not that being enough motivation there. Is there anything that you could share? If I can just get a couple of things from each of you just to share as a tip to those students that are studying.
For me, of course, we just had our mocks 2 weeks ago, so the last weekend I took as a break, and I think it's vital to take breaks. But I don't think that you should take advantage of that and take a break for such a long time that you feel demotivated and you can't get back on track to your revision. I think it's important to then, from that break, do an hour a day, and then after a couple of days, do 2 hours a day, then 3, and then slowly you can increase it, but not too much. Don't burn out. But yeah, and take breaks in between. Even for those breaks, it could be a 20-minute break. Just go on a 20-minute walk, or just like anything. You can just have a talk with a friend for 20 minutes. Just those simple things, it will reduce your stress levels by so much.
Thank you. And is there anything that you're doing when it comes to studying? Are you studying in a particular technique? Do you have background music that keeps you in tune and focused? Do you note take, annotate, highlight? What's your flow?
I usually do, for business and for a couple of my English subjects, I usually do blurting. So it's a technique where you basically read all of your content. I do this for science as well. You read all of your content and everything, and then after maybe a minute or two, just like take a breath, breathe, and then on a whiteboard, I bought myself a whiteboard to write on, and on the whiteboard, just blur out every single thing that you remember, and then take a picture of it, and then with a red whiteboard marker, just write in everything you're missing. Then you could take a break from that, and then like a couple of days later, do the same thing again, and hopefully you should have improved because you remember what you written, read, and what you forgot, and then by the end of it, you should have everything memorized and you should write everything out.
Wow, that's really good. That's the first time I've heard of that, but that's a really good technique. Thank you for sharing that.
On the idea of not being able to find motivation, I would say my biggest tip is if you're waiting for motivation, you will not get anything done because as teenagers, no one is motivated to study. Come on. So I believe you should prioritize having discipline over motivation because realistically, at the end of our GCSEs, we get an 8-week break. So if you're devoting yourself for the span of these 3 months just to getting the best possible grades you can at the end of your GCSEs you can relax a bit. You can go on holidays, go to London, wherever you want, knowing that you have given it your all, you've done your best, you've put your best on that paper. So whether motivation or not, you are studying, you're revising. I would also say limit social media. It's not good for you. Stop scrolling on TikTok, stop scrolling on Instagram, pick up your books and revise. If possible, shut down your phone, set restrictions. It's not forever, basically, just for the span of these 3 months, just to make sure that at the end of the day, when all is said and done, you are happy and you're contented with the fact that you've done your best, basically. You're not looking back and having regrets and saying, if I dropped that phone or if I just opened my history books, you are happy with yourself at the end of the day. So, yeah.
And I'm a firm believer of that, and I think that's solid advice there because you don't want to look back and regret. And and that's one of my big mottos that I use of my children, that I don't want you to ever turn around and say, "Oh, if only I had." You've got the opportunity now, so just do it. So you know. The last two, we've got a couple of more minutes just before we end the show.
I think it's important to have your end goal in mind. So whether you're aiming for, if you're taking foundation, I don't know, maths, or you're aiming for that 4 or that solid 5, or if you're doing higher and you want that 8 or 9, if you have that goal in mind, you're not going to attain it by just hoping that one day you'll get the motivation by some miracle and remember all the content by itself. It doesn't happen naturally. You have to put the hard work and the effort in. Also, I'd say for parents, it's important to support your child studying because, like Cherish said before, no one wants to revise. No one's happy to sit there and revise content for hours on end. I mean, if you do, I'm jealous of you, but but I don't think anyone would feel that way. So it's important to study, but at the same time, also to really take breaks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we'll have just enough time to squeeze one more in.
I feel like being able, something really important is to take one step at a time and to not prioritize if you have home responsibilities, you should put that into your routine, but make sure to also add your studying within that. And being able, don't rush everything, don't cram everything into one day or 1 month. Make sure you take it slowly and do a reasonable amount and make a plan on what you're planning on, what to do. So it's not all you're not overstimulating yourself and putting stress on yourself. That's going to cause mental problems, issues and stuff.
Yes, and I think that's key advice, girls. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you all this morning, and you've all given and shared some really good advice to those that are tuned in, especially myself. I've learned a few things this morning about revision and also how to nurture our mental well-being, and it's really refreshing to see that you young girls are able to be in tune with your emotions and and continue that. Let that be something that you take with you in your lives, because to be able to establish and understand and be this support for each other at such a young age, it's a really good quality and something that will only make you succeed in your future life. So thank you so much for taking the time out to join me this morning. I wish you all the very best for your GCSEs ahead. I don't have a shadow of a doubt that any of you will not do well. I'm very confident speaking with you all this morning that you will be successful women, and don't forget your roots. You're all Luton girls, so do come back and inspire them, and let the community know that it can be done. And I wish you all the best. And I have no doubt that listeners have also benefited from what you have shared this morning as well. So thank you for taking the time out to join me this morning. And it's not all listeners. I look forward to speaking with more girls in the coming weeks from Chorley Girls as well. But for now, Friday, blessings to you all. Have a safe and blessed half term. And girls, I wish you all the very best with your revision and studies as well. Juma Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum.
Coming up next.